Hi everyone, I'm Dawn Gatling, and I'm the founder of A New Dawn Soul Therapy. I am proud to be your soul therapist. The purpose of today's video is to talk about anxiety, a little bit about what it is, and I'm going to give you 5 tips to help you manage it. Now, anxiety is one of those things that affects everyone at some point in time. There are those of us who struggle with anxiety related disorders, which means that it interferes greatly in our everyday life. It leads to panic attacks, overwhelm, depression, and a host of all other disorders. The key is that we need to learn how to manage it, whether we have an anxiety related disorder or just find ourselves falling into anxious times here or there. And let's face it, it's still 2020. Anxiety is abundant. So again, I'm going to share 5 tips to help you manage it. But first, I want to tell you a little bit about what anxiety really is. Anxiety is a concern or a worry about a future event. Usually, what we're worried about and what we experience anxiety over hasn't even happened yet. We're just worried that it's going to happen. And then our bodies and our minds go into overdrive to try to figure out a way to keep us safe or to keep that thing from happening. And so it just begins to consume us. But these tips that I'm going to share with you, they help me in my daily life. They have helped many of my clients, and I'm sure that they're going to help you too. So the first one is very simple. Breathe. Just breathe. When you feel the trigger of anxiety rising up within you, when you feel that you are just overly concerned and overwhelmed about something, take a moment, stop, and breathe. Take full breaths and then exhale. And you stay there focusing on your breathing, focusing on what you want to feel as you inhale and what you want to release as you exhale. It's very difficult to focus on 2 things at once, no matter how much of a multitasker you are. So when you're focused on your breathing, it helps to take away the focus from that thing that you're worried or anxious about. So breathe and just stay present in the moment. The second thing is to have perspective, okay? Adjust your perspective. You got to remind yourself that rarely are things as bad as they seem. Very rarely. We actually are the ones that cause our suffering a lot of times by getting worked up over things that haven't even happened yet. Or if we're experiencing a trigger that's familiar to us, we get wrapped up in what our former experience with that thing was. But guess what? It doesn't mean that the next time you're faced with that challenge or that situation or that thought or that memory, it doesn't mean that those things are going to happen again. So perspective taking really helps us to shift how we're thinking about that thing in the moment. Remind yourself that of all the other times that you thought something bad was going to happen and it didn't. And remember those times when you were like, oh, that wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be. We've all had those times. This is not the time to focus on the times where, yep, I was right. I knew stuff was going to go left. Now is the time to focus on the times when you were wrong or when things weren't actually as bad as you thought they were. So number 2 is perspective. Number 3 is to reflect. Now, you want to think about all the times before that you survived what you thought was going to hurt you. When you survived what you just knew was going to destroy you. Reflect on those times. Remind yourself of all the times that you overcame, all of the times that you never gave up, and all of the times that you won. Reflect on that. That's actually going to also help to solidify your shift in perspective. Number 4 is affirm. You want to affirm, remind yourself who you are. Remind yourself who you are. Tell yourself how strong you are and that you're safe and you are in control of how you're reacting. A lot of times when you suffer from anxiety, you feel like it's outside of your control and that it happens to you and comes upon you and you can't do anything about it. That's a lie. That's a lie that our ego tells us so that it can keep us in a familiar place and keep us feeling safe. So affirm, tap into your divinity within and remind yourself that you're here for a purpose and you're here for a reason and that this too will pass. And 5, give yourself grace and space. My clients know me for hammering into them about giving themselves space and grace. Grace, grace, grace. You're not supposed to have it all figured out. You're supposed to be growing and learning and changing and transforming. The world done lied to us. We're not supposed to know everything, be everything, and just have it all together all the time or any of the time. These are unprecedented times, and they're going to continue to be so. Each new day is a new day. Each new month, new week, new year is a new year. And while there may be things that are familiar, it is new. It is new. So enjoy the journey a little bit more and give yourself that grace when maybe you make mistakes, or maybe you made a choice that led you to this place. Okay, learn from it. What can it teach you? That's giving yourself grace instead of beating up on yourself. Guess what? Beating up on yourself permeates the anxious mindset. You're doing the best you can, so remind yourself of that. And also make sure you're able to see the room for improvement and take that opportunity to improve. Okay? So these have been my 5 tips to help you manage anxiety. 1, breathe. 2, perspective. Check your perspective. 3, reflect. 3, reflect. I got my handy dandy notes. Reflect, reflect, reflect on all the times that you've overcome. 4, affirm. Remind yourself who you are and that you got this. And 5, give yourself grace and space to get through it. I hope that this was helpful. If any of what I've said resonated with you, hit the subscribe button and turn on your notifications so that you can stay up to date with the videos and content and tips that I post. Until next time, thanks for hanging out with me, and I'll see you then.